soft moonlight, wisdom sharing whispers through the digital sphere, guiding paths to freedom, bringing vision clear. Echo, echo, hear the sound. Voices lifting off the ground. In the marching silent stream, echoes of the crypto dream. Conversations flowing like rivers blood. Blood will not gain the forefront. Strength and pride, navigating markets, breaking down the walls. In the world of finance, answering the calls. Echo, echo, echo. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this week's installment of Echo by BK Crypto. I am your lovely host, Kimberly, aka BK Black Crypto Chick, that Black Crypto Chick. And we have my lovely host, Miss
Rashona Bennett, RB Rising, always elevating. And today
RB
is
Rising.
exciting.
RB Rising, always lovely in the house. And we'll tell you about our special guest in a moment. But before we get into that, we want to tell you guys, if you haven't done so, please take a moment to follow us and like this program, because we know you're going to love what we have to share today. And if you haven't had a chance, go back and check our other episodes, because we have a lot of information to share with you guys, mostly about crypto, but not always about crypto. Sometimes it's just about fabulous people doing wonderful things fabulous women mostly doing wonderful things in this world. So that is our focus, and we are here for you each weekend, Sundays at around noonish New York time. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little background history about our wonderful guest, Miss Nikki Brown, otherwise known as the Coochie Coach. So welcome, welcome, welcome to this transformative Sunday. We are having a candid conversation, and we hope that it'll spark some excitement, spark something inside you, because each week we aim to do that. So today we're thrilled to have the incomparable Nikki Brown, aka the Coochie Coach, joining us on this journey as a trailblazing mamapreneur, speaker, innovator, and sexual freedom strategist. The Coochie Coach is revolutionizing the world of maternal wellness, particularly for Black and Brown women. With over 20 years of experience leading women and youth towards empowerment, she's the founder of the Coochie Coach LLC and has hosted her annual Coochie Con ever since 2017. The Coochie Coach is a multi-talented force, holding multiple degrees, certifications, and ordinations, and is growing a global movement of sexual liberation, to sexually liberate 1 million women. Get ready for a raw, unfiltered conversation about sex, intimacy, and pleasures with the one and only Coochie Coach. Yay! I know. I was so excited when I read your full bio. I was like, because I know, girl, it's been so long. I don't know what, it's been so long.
Listen, that's a conversation. I mean, you know what? I'm going to jump in there. Hi, I'm Nikki, better known as the Coochie Coach. Thank you, Rashona, RB Rising, Kimberly, Black Crypto Chick.
That's
right.
right.
This is important that we even broach the topic. I tell people I started off talking about sex and intimacy because I felt like in my family, I had 4 of my sisters be diagnosed with HIV, 2 of them to die from the AIDS virus. And I said, somebody's not having candid conversations, right? Families are talking about how not to have sex, how not to get pregnant, how not to do this. No one's saying when you do, this is what you can do to save your life And so I felt like if no one else was going to do it, then maybe that's why God put it in my life for me to have it happen. So I started off as a sex and intimacy coach. I still do it to some degree at the Coochie Con or different spaces and places. I love talking about sex. I talk about sex every day. And I also appreciate birth and birthing things into reality and helping people bring life onto the planet. So I do work as a doula, but more importantly, focusing and empowering doulas to be empowered around their money conversations. So that's really important because in my world, it's like doulas, particularly Black and brown ones from where I sit, are often riding what I call the struggle bus or I'm coming up on the rough side of the mountain when it comes to money, finances, wealth, acquisition. We're just not talking about it. And so for me, money is connected to my cooch.
Yeah, listen. So you brought down the subject that I love to talk about. So Hila, listen. So when we think about the word birth, right? We always connect it to, like you said, the coochie, the VJ, right? But when we think about it hypothetically, it's really about what are we creating, right? And so what was that creation or that relationship you had with your money during the childhood years, right? Where maybe you weren't birthing the abundance that you knew that you were because of some type of experience. Can you talk about some of your childhood relationships with finances and money?
Woo! Where does it begin? Okay, so I have a story about, listen, I was raised by my mother mostly. My father was not there on an everyday basis. My mother is a hustler. Like, I know her to get money. She'll have a job. She'll have something else going. She gonna get street money. She gonna get money, right? And so money is attracted to her. She grew up with her father making sure that my grandmother had all of the money that she needed to take care of her two daughters that came from my grandfather. And so my mother grew up with, the best shoes, the best clothing, the finest things that a Harlem girl could have, right? My grandfather had a business.
Ooh.
It was getting too hot.
Let me cut that off. Can you see me?
Yeah, we see you now.
Somebody's trying to call me in the middle of, see how folks are? Let me see. Interrupt that conversation. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes.
We see you. Oh, now you're gone. Oh, she's gone.
Okay. She's coming back. This is when you know you had this is when you know you're starting a conversation off right, because there's frequencies and energy is not trying to let it go through, and we're not making it happen at all.
Y'all believe this?
Yeah. Listen,
it's such a heavy topic that other people are like, wait a minute, they can't. Don't let these it's perfect, right? It's perfect, right? Because I'm giving you the story of my Black grandfather coming from the South, coming to the North to transform his own life, right? And then to have children. And, there's a story, there's a narrative that Black men don't take care of their children. And my grandfather wasn't that. He took care of his children. He gave my grandmother money, but he didn't teach my mother how to steward that money, right? He didn't probably know how to steward it. He was a gambler. My mother became a gambler. We're just going to trick this money. We're going to get this money and we're going to trick this money and we're not going to hold this money. And so I was raised with my mother who knew how to get it. She could attract it, but couldn't keep it. It was like going into a funnel and it's going out. And there was nothing to sift it, hold it, contain it so that you could grow it and build it for generations.
Ashe, right. 100%. So taking that observation, understanding the history of which you come from, which is powerful because we don't talk about that a lot. We don't talk about the fact that there are more Black men actually taking care of their families than media actually like to show. But that's another conversation. But I had to say that. Go ahead, my Black kings. Continue on your life because we see you. We see you. Okay? So going through that history, because I think a lot of times when we understand the history of where we come from, we have the power to not only understanding the influence, but also the power to change it and improve it, right? And so the fact that you had various influences of understanding how to grow and hustle your money, right? But now the importance of how to sustain it and how to allow it to grow. You are a birther, not only as a doula, but as a woman. Has that changed for you, understanding your background and understanding your power, what you have now?
I mean, absolutely. I feel like it's been, I won't say I'm taking these out because they stopped functioning when I got disconnected.
Oh, now we can hear you.
Oh, now it wants.
Now I hear you. Now I hear you. Say something again. Say something again.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Now we hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear anything you're saying. So that it's I can't hear a word.
Technology.
Can't hear a word. Okay, but I'll say this. I heard the last thing you said, Rashona, and I'll say that in my world, what had to shift is my consciousness and my conversation around trauma when it comes to money. So I entered a program. It's a 12-step program called Debtors Anonymous. And I was at what they say is a rock bottom. Like if somebody's on crack, somebody's on dope, they hit a bottom. I hit my money bottom, right? And I was at a place in 2021 where it seemed like it can't get any worse than this. And if you could see a little bit behind me, there are a couple of degrees and certifications above my head. That doesn't show really what's on the wall, right? That meant nothing in the world of finances, wealth acquisition, and money management. Absolutely nothing. And so I was at such a dark place when it came to finances. I said I needed help. And so I went out and got some help, and I started working in that 12-step program. And what happens when you start to work inside of a community, a conversation, you begin to pick up inertia around something. And then it's like a tornado, but I begin to use the tornado for good. Instead of tearing shit, instead of tearing shit up, I was tearing shit up inside, you know, moving things around so that things could be inherently different for me and ultimately different for my children. And so one day at a time, I showed up for a meeting. Next thing I started doing is talking to people about wealth. Next thing I started doing is being in conversations with women who were talking about wealth, investments, and things of that magnitude. All of those things were happening simultaneously because I needed to, what I say, do surgery on my money mindset. And the only way I knew to do surgery was to call in all of the physicians who focused on a particular area around finances, wealth, money management, and mindset, and get to work on myself.
It's so interesting you mentioned that here.
Okay, hold on. I can't hear y'all. This is so ridiculous that I can't hear you. So I don't even know what I'm going to try to respond. Maybe I need to turn off these pods. If I turn them off, maybe that'll help.
Turn the pod.
Maybe. Can you hear now? Because we hear you.
We hear you.
Can you hear us?
You can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Yes, we hear you. Oh.
We're going to try this one more time. I'm going to do something. Let me go out and come back.
Okay.
Okay.
Stay tuned, guys. We're working this out. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Hey, can you hear us? Can you hear us? She can't hear us. Okay.
Still can't hear y'all.
Oh, okay.
And I turned these off, so these are not even on.
Can you hear us now? Oh, you were going to put it in the, no.
Yeah, I have everything connected to this.
We hear her. Yeah, you might need to turn it off and just go through your computer.
Yeah.
You have it turned off, but it's still connected.
What should I do? Maybe you should put it in the chat. Somebody said, boom. Somebody said, what's up, Nikki?
Turn it off and disconnect. Hold on.
Because I can't hear anything. Let me try this.
So what happens when you get into a high-level conversation?
Girl, we know that's right, because we had all sorts of technical difficulties today.
You know?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you. Can you hear us?
We can't see you, but we hear you.
I just heard you say something. But now I can't hear anything.
Oh.
Yep. Elevated conversations. But y'all can't stop us. We're making this happen. This is information that you need to know.
Yeah. I think we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, y'all can hear me.
We can't hear you.
But I can't hear you.
How did that just happen with that phone call? The phone call messed us up, right?
Maybe you should just get out and come back in. I text.
Yeah, that's what
She
she
said
did.
take something out.
Yeah, like disconnect the AirPods, disconnect it.
Yeah, because she went out and went back.
And just
in.
put your speaker on so that we can just talk, perhaps.
Yeah, the regular.
Or try your computer.
Okay. You know, she
But
talked about.
But while she was talking about what she was saying, did anything resonate with you in your own personal experience, Kim?
Well, you know, when I was in college, latter years of college, a friend of mine that I met, she was going to a number of different 12-step meetings, and she invited me to join her at quite a few of them. We went to Debtors Anonymous. We went to Sex Addicts Anonymous. We went to
Really? I never
I went to a lot.
about that.
I went to oh my God, what's the one for like daughters of Alcoholics Anonymous, and there's something for like daughters of alcoholics and everything. Went to a lot of those meetings, and I really enjoyed them. You'd be surprised. It's really helpful just to talk about things, like just to talk. And just because I think a lot of us in life go around thinking that, I mean, I wasn't in debt at that point or anything like that, you know what I mean? But we go around thinking or feeling like we're the only ones, you know? And so it's really good to just meet people, and then you're partnered up with individuals, and you can just, like have that support when you're just going through whatever. And so I encourage everybody, start
feeling
there.
Safe. Feeling safe.
Mm-hmm. I encourage everybody to start there. We cannot hear her. Yeah,
he said to have Ansel said to have her restarting, her phone. We're trying that. But give us a moment. We're here. Life is happening. We want a lot of technologies to stop us. It's so funny because I've actually never heard of the Anonymous during that time. But what I would say is that it is important to find your tribe, right? I think most people go through a lot of trauma because they're going it by themselves and they don't have a safe space to speak how they really feel, because sometimes you can't speak with your family because they think you're an alien.
Right.
Let's keep that true. And so if you're keeping these feelings and emotions inside, you're battling through yourself. And what I wanted to touch base on what Nikki said too is the reflections of what you have internally is actually what's showing up in your life. That's why it's so important to start really paying attention to how you feel internally and work with those things. It's kind of like how you do herbal cleanses or colonics, right? And when you do that, it flushes the system and you feel free. It's the same thing with everything else you're experiencing, whether it's your finances, whether it's your relationships, whether it's the things that you want to create for yourself or birth. It's important to really cleanse inside so it can really show outside, So that was a good point that Nikki made. And I think that if we use that as a template, the same way how you say, when you see people with pimples, right? And you say either hormonal things are happening, that's a reaction of what's happening internally, or if your emotions and your feelings. Nikki, are you back? Can you hear us?
Let's see, maybe the second one. Can you hear us, Nikki? No. I saw the extra one on. She's logged in from 2 devices.
I can see y'all, but I can't hear a thing. This is so bananas. Never in a million years.
I know.
We are really interrupting the internet today.
Yeah. And we're not going to let this step our flow. We're going to figure this out. Thank you guys for your patience.
Did you say we're going to figure this out, Rashona?
Yes.
I'm reading
Yeah.
lips. You see this?
Yes,
My
I know.
daughter
And
goes to school for
my daughter goes
students
to
who
sign
speak
language
sign
school.
language. I'm
I
learning
know
to read
my
Oh.
daughter
lips.
goes to sign language school. That's what I was saying, which is powerful, right? Look.
Exactly.
This is
Okay.
funny. So, do
So
you
let me
have the
see.
AirPods that has the extension?
A cord, a phone, AirPods with a cord.
Yes.
No, my son took them.
Okay.
I have nothing. This is so crazy. That's why I was going to try to go to the computer and see if that would be better.
Did you go to the computer? Did you go to the
I'm
computer?
going to try my laptop. I mean, I need to
Okay.
get.
Is that the other thing you have blocked? Wait, she could hear you
I've never
saying.
seen anything like this in my
No,
life.
she
Give me a second.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I know we're magical. People tap into your magic.
Exactly.
Theory going through all of these mechanisms.
We
Yes.
do.
Most definitely. So Debt is Anonymous is interesting. So now when we think about the evolution of where we are, right? And we think about the debt, how it's always increasing in inflation, right? You think about that, a lot of these programs, yes, it's surrounded by, I don't want to say it, the current narrative of where the state exists. Am I making sense? Like, and it seems to be something consistent depending on where the
Now I
state
can
is.
hear you as I'm getting on the damn computer.
Awesome. Yes. And so it's
Okay.
reflective of, so it's like, do you think that these programs are increased because the system is manipulating these narratives, right? Like all of a sudden, everyone's is focusing on money issues, financial traumas, right? It's a narrative, and therefore everything around it, every company, every bank is now discussing this, right? Like it's like you got to tap in the zone and to say what's going to be the narrative for this year, because this is now the new trend. Thank you, the trend, right? And now everyone's in that same mindset and energy, and now they accepted that they have financial traumas. They accepted that they in debt. They accepted that they don't have good relationships with money. And so now whatever the universe is pouring in meaning, the powers that be, we agreed to that energetic flow. No, no, no.
Exactly. And it's only because the powers that be are now saying it, you know.
Correct.
Granted, they've honestly put people in this in that way of being, because you got to think about the US, especially the US, is built on conspicuous consumption and the narrative that you need everything that they advertise to you. You know, if you travel a bit, you learn that you don't need all that crap. You really don't. But you know, more and more Americans really need to get out of that, because you know what? It's a cycle that I think it all piggybacks on each other, because we work far too much in the United States. We don't have a good work-life balance across the board. So then we're working towards that next vacation, that next, you know, going out, spending too much because, oh, we deserve this. We work so much. We deserve that. But then it's like we're just trying to fill a void that's missing from other aspects of our life. We need to stop. And we need to stop consuming all the content from the marketers saying, you need this, you deserve that, you know, and just do what's comfortable for you. Because if you're only making $80,000 or $50,000 a year or 100, whatever, it's like you probably shouldn't be, you know, spending an exorbitant amount on a car, or whatever else, like get something more manageable.
And to tap into that, you just segued into the next question. Welcome back, Nikki. Nano, right? Personal development. You, for anyone that I know who is giving back on the sexual energy, on education, on birthing, on doula, you give a lot of yourself. So how do you now, what are the self-care practices that you prioritize, and how do you maintain work-life balance? So it was perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is really perfect for me. I tell people I'm the queen of self-care, and I still could do some more work, right? Like
I
I
love
do
that.
something for me every single day. I get up early in the morning before anybody else is up in the apartment, and I am taking care of me. Whether I'm writing in my journal, I'm reading my book, and it's all about Nikki. And there is nothing that I do in the morning that a part of my rituals. I spend a good 2 hours on self care. Maybe it's taking a bath, maybe it's taking a spiritual shower, lighting my incense, praying, writing in my journals, writing my numbers. Like that's a part of my spiritual practice every day. Like, what do I spend? What did I bring in? Every single day since probably 2017, I've been doing that. And at first, it started with me just saying, how much money am I getting? And then I said, well, I need balance, right? What am I expelling? What am I, bringing? And what I recognize in self care is that too is a conversation that we must begin to have on a regular, consistent basis. If it's not a conversation that's happening every day, you don't get the tornado effect on it, right? You don't get to build up any inertia around it. You don't get to have a community conversation around something if only one person is doing it. But if I'm doing it, I'm telling you, I have a whole rest community. I have a WhatsApp group for rest, right? The NAP ministry is a real ministry. And so it is like, no, we are not victims of capitalism. We rest. And so I use rest as a way of access to a deeper Nikki. And it really does happen every day. So even in between today, I have a lot of calls, but I've been doing them from the bed. I've been doing them in between taking naps. I've been doing them in between consciously caring for me. And I think that when we are consciously caring for ourselves, self-care becomes a way of life versus a thing that I've got to do. I've got to implement this self-care notion. No, I'm caring for me at a deeper level beyond brushing my teeth, taking a shower. But what am I putting into my mind, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? Who am I speaking with every day? That's self-care. If you're talking to a bunch of negative Nellies, you are annihilating your own soul. But if you're speaking to people who are positive, who are on another frequency, oh, you want to be wealthy? You should be talking to people who are having wealth conversations. You should be talking to wealthy people. You should be engaging in wealthy activities. 10 minutes a day on a wealthy activity will transform your wealth life.
Say it again for the people in the back.
10 minutes a day. That's all you need. My friend and I, we worked the numbers out today. We're getting ready to do this whole 6-month program on money and finances. And so we were like, if we took 10 minutes, it doesn't matter what we did. If I said 10-minute bath every single day, something would be different at the end of those 365 days for my own life. 10 minutes of reading a book, 10 minutes, it doesn't matter. 10 minutes of yoga, 10 minutes of every single day without fail, your life is going to be different. The universe has to respond. It is inevitable that something becomes different. But if you do nothing, you get nothing. You'll have the same old things repeating over and over and over again. I believe that the work that I do, you mentioned about giving out and pouring of myself. I feel like the work that I do is a part of self-care. I'm leaning into what I do naturally and that I really do really well in my genius zone. I'm not really doing things that, oh God, begrudgingly, I go to this goddamn job. You know how people are when they're like, I gotta go to work. I don't live like that. I'm like, oh, my client's having 2 babies. I can't wait to get to the hospital. And, all of those things come because I'm living inside what I actually do, what feels good in my body. And when it doesn't feel good anymore spiritually, guess what I do? Shift courses. I tell my friend that, Nikki, you got to think about age. You damn skippy. I'm too old and I'm still very young to stand in a space that's not moving forward. If it's not working for me, guess what I do? Get in conversation, get in communication with the people who aren't doing that thing and doing the thing that I want to do, and go create a community for myself. That's self-care.
Most definitely powerful. I had the pleasure of attending InvestFest with you, and that was a breath of life in itself. Just seeing what Earn Your Leisure is birthing, a community of I could say a black sea of divine love. and businesses working in alignment to shift the narrative about our community and working together. And I know you know, being the Coochie Coach, and yes, even in its name in itself, Coochie Coach, you're going to deal with, you know, it's a sensitive topic. It has always been. I love you because you're so out there. You're saying this is who I am, and unapologetic. And so even with the name, the Coochie Coach, even you birthing that, but being down there, you also had the idea to expand the awareness to the community that this is important, and that we realize that there are more women who are of age who are looking to birth now. And to see you there helping women through this pinnacle age of 40 up, letting them know that it's not impossible. Can you speak about that? Because statistically, the numbers have increased. There are more women who are saying, I choose to birth. Even though statistically they say the numbers don't add up, but we know when it comes to universal love and law, it doesn't matter. Can you speak? Because I think that is brilliant.
So I have a question. I use a lot of profanity. I have a curse word. Can I say a curse word here? So in my world, I say fuck a biological clock, right? And by that I mean, you know, if we allow the media, society to dictate how many children, if we could have children, we would never do anything, right? And I used to say that a woman is, if she does something young, she's damned. If she does something later, she's damned. So we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. We might as well do, right? And so why I say women over a certain age, I say 35 and up, because I had a child, my second child, at 41, 40 fun years on the planet. And I was like, I want a baby. At 40 years old, I decided I wanted a baby. I wasn't in a relationship. All of the, you know, stuff that they say you're supposed to do, I did that in my 20s, right? Had a boyfriend, had a husband, had a fiance, had a had a baby, did all the things the so-called right way. You feel me? And then I got married, and my ex-husband couldn't have children. I always wanted a lot of children. So I was like, wait a second, I'm 40. If I don't do it now, when will I do it? And it really was a dare. I was with a few friends. We were all, they're older than me, a few, and we were all like, oh, we're going to have babies. We're going to do it was supposed to be a reality show, and it was called Pregnant and Dating. Okay. And we were defying all of the, you got to have it together, right, so-called way. We were going to be pregnant and dating, and we were going to have our babies. Well, those 4 women, hello, none of them followed through on the game. I was the only one who took it seriously. I didn't bring a camera into my life, but, you know, I have old images of what that journey was like. And I decided in 2012 that I wanted to get pregnant and have a baby in 2013. I didn't have a father yet for the child. I wasn't going to do a sperm bank. You would have to be a person to have sex, do all the things. And so I wrote it down. And by February of 2013, I was pregnant. By November of 2013, so that's the power of the word. That's the power of having a community with you. Even though those women didn't follow through, it took all of our concentrated on this one thing for me to get pregnant, manifest the man, get pregnant, have the baby, and create a whole community that has been birthed to help me raise her.
So can you share with us a pivotal moment that was life-changing as you lived in your energy of the Coochie Coach that you can share with the audience of what you do? Can you bring us into your world?
Like, how did I become the Coochie Coach? I think I was born the Coochie Coach. I mean, if we go back to what it like in my life, you know, if you see everybody was very sexual in my family, but pretended like they weren't. My mother didn't really pretend, but she wasn't really having a candid conversation about it. I'm the last of 10 children from my father, so you know he was having sex. And some of those siblings were born in the same year from different mothers. So you get how sexual my dad had to be. So I was born into a family, a community of sexual beings unexpressed. And so I was working as a sexual liberation, blah, blah, blah. I was doing an event. The event was called My Pussy Matters, and it was phenomenal. I had all ages. It was ages 13 to 67, and we were
Wow.
talking about stuff, and we were healing our stuff, and I was facilitating conversation. And it hit me. I had a 5-year-old at the time, 4 years old or something, and I was like, oh snap. She can't tell people her mom is a pussy coach, but she can possibly say that she's a coochie coach and not get too much feedback and flack. And it was a word that I felt that my little 4 and 5-year-old daughter could say without feeling any kind of way. And also, even though, you know, people might look at you funny, but they wouldn't look at you too funny in the world of political correctness if she said coochie. And so I said, I want to be the coochie coach. And I texted my friend who I was working with on some marketing things, and she says, I love it. And I went and got it on Instagram. And there was no coochie anybody anywhere doing anything back in 2017, which was just a few years ago.
Yeah.
About the way the technology has grown. And now you've got coochie wash, coochie care, all different versions of it. And I tell people I use the definite article the, because there's only one me, right? You'll find a coochie coach, but you won't find the coochie coach. And the thing that distinguishes me is that I oftentimes tell my own story so that you don't have to. I live my life out loud so you don't have to, right? I believe that God gave me this journey and this pathway because it's my voice that's going to bring something unique to this conversation. And I'm going to talk about it until the day I die.
So I'm just wondering, what exactly does it entail? Because you mentioned like, you know, like maternal child health and so forth. So what, like just an overview of what does it entail?
So, I mean, you know, it's funny because I'm in this place with my business where I am putting like some foundational pieces in place, right? As a Black woman who, you heard me say how reckless my family, my mom, I'm not going to, my rest of my family, they've been responsible. They got houses, they got investments, right? But the woman I came from invested in other ways, right? She invested in me. So that is where her money went, right? So I will say that you know, the Coochie Coach LLC is this brand. It's not a person, right? It's not me, the person. It is a community that focuses on women being empowered. I say from the bedroom to the boardroom and beyond, but definitely in the area of coochie power. You know, like knowing that when you walk into the space, you got 1,000 women, ancestors right there with you, able to hold your own. The courage to talk about currency, or the courage to say that I'm going to build $1 billion brand when I don't know a person who has $1 million, $1,000, right? Like that is really, it's really power. But power in a place that doesn't require me to mull over the men in my life. It allows me to bring them in, right? It allows me to use my creativity, my softness. As loud as I may speak, I'm so soft and pink when it comes to this topic, right? Because it's necessary. So it is all of the things that I think encompass being a woman and ... Because I don't think that we are these one-dimensional characters. And now I see myself moving into more money conversations, more currency conversations, more crypto conversations, like from a platform of, yeah, if my money ain't right, then my coochie ain't right.
Exactly.
Listen.
No, it's true.
You know how
It's true.
to be poor, and then you got what then you got a yeast infection from the stress. Like it's all connected, ladies.
Right. Yes.
That's true.
Phenomenal.
So what made you get into cryptocurrencies?
Again, that was that 2021 rock bottom. I said, ain't no way that I'm gonna, you know, get up from this unless I'm in another conversation around money. It had to shift. I couldn't do it the same way I had been doing it. I wasn't gonna go back to, you know, the school system. I wasn't gonna go back to an 8 to 4. Wasn't gonna go back to a 9 to 5. I had to create a way in which I was gonna have different conversations about money and keep growing that. So when I joined a wealth community, I found out about you all. I went to a meeting at a wealth event and they introduced BK crypto. And I was like, all right, we were already talking about crypto, but I was like, BK crypto. All right, this is, I'm thinking Brooklyn, I'm thinking Black Kings. I don't know what it is, but I knew that it was going to be a different conversation. And it was in that wealth community, along with what you all have been doing for the few years that I've been aware of you, is that a consciousness, a conversation, a consistency that is going on about this topic. Like, it's not going anywhere, right? I'm into Web3. I got an app being built now. Like, all of this wasn't happening 3 years ago. It just wasn't going to happen. My student loans have been forgiven as a result of my conversations around money. And I had nearly $300,000 in debt, but it was because I've been doing this, and I call it money miracles. It's the shifting of a mindset, but it is also being able to see the miracles, experience the miracles, and be open to the capacity that the universe has to offer and provide you. And I also had to get rid of my stigma speaking. There was a lot of upper limits that I had around money.
Oh, stigmas. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't hear it. Yeah, I understand.
And so we had to shift that,
Yeah.
Shift the mindset.
Every day.
It is a mindset. I want to integrate this conversation because there's so many things that we've talked about today, right? From your personal development, from your growth, from your childhood wounds with money and your relationship, also what you saw, but also what you was birthing at the Coochie Coach. But I also know that you're a woman about justice. You're a woman about change. And so because you're in this space, and we always talk about the challenges between maternal health care in the Black community versus the white community. And I want to just touch base on the inequality, the systemic inequalities in the maternal health care and how you're dealing with that.
So, God, this is so deep. I'm in a lot of communities that talk about Black maternal justice, but what I also had to do is I had to go into communities that weren't talking about it, right? So I have a contract now with Weill Cornell Medicine, where I service as what they call I created the title. It's called the Community Connector. And so we're working with fellows, doctors, PhDs, MDs, who are in medical school or who are doing research in different ways. Now, none of their research, the ones that we're working with right now, is related to maternal health, but it is about having those ways of being that doctors can benefit from having with Black and brown people. So we're talking about an energetic shift. We're talking about a physical shift. We're talking about treatment and services that are changing because of the work that we're doing, right? And with that, what I have the opportunity to do is now get introduced to other doula communities, other birthing communities, where we say, okay, this is a conversation we need to have. What does this look like? One of my master's degrees is in policy. And so I decided that maybe I should put that degree to work. So I'm now working on what does it look like to have policy at another level pertain to Medicaid, people with Medicaid, doulaship availability, not just know that doulas are out there, but match people with Medicaid with a doula. Yes. And so, it's like, it shouldn't be 2024 and people are still like, what's a doula?
Yeah.
Or people are like, how do I get a doula?
And the thing about it is,
yeah.
And they'll be quick to give us people of color C-section.
C-section.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so you need someone there who's going to advocate, but you also need someone there who's going to listen. You also need to be empowered to advocate on your own behalf. So I'm getting like certifications in advocacy and how to make sure that I'm able to support people in advocating for themselves, no matter what medical industrial complex arena that you end up in. You want to make sure that you know the right questions, that you're always bringing someone with you, that you are empowered in your medical journey, no matter what that is. It could be a regular physical. You should have someone with you. Why? Because the doctor may say something that maybe you don't understand or that triggers you, and someone else can ask and see things from a lens that you are not looking from.
Powerful. The importance of feeling secure, stable, safe, community, and not just you going in saying that something's going to happen, but just to be smart, to understand that
insurance.
Yeah.
Insurance. You get an insurance policy because you know I may or may not be in a car accident, but if I am, at least I know I'm protected, right? And so I look at advocacy as an insurance policy for your wellness. You know, you go in and you say, I got my partner here. Rashona's here with me at the doctor. I know the doctor is not going to say anything too slip. And you know what I mean? And at least he can say, hey, hold on, Dr. So-and-so. I heard the way you said X. It didn't really register with me well. Would you please explain that again differently? I know my friend is nervous. She just received some information that, you know, that doesn't sound good. And she's not going to be thinking clearly. So I'm here to support and buffer through that.
Yeah, and it's important, I think, in this conversation is to say that it's okay to be a voice. Because you're going to this institution doesn't mean they know all in all. Because at the end of the day, when you go to the doctor, you're letting them know what you're feeling, what is some of your pains or issues, and they're coming up with some type of strategy because of based on what you said, because you went in tune with your body. I don't think a lot of us understand that we are the healers. We have the power. So when you can advocate yourself and feel comfortable to, and be with your partner, your friend, to support you in that, it gives you power. It gives you power. It's okay that when you go to the doctor, because we can go into statistics about going to the doctor and in labor, because sis, I was in labor, my water broke 6 months early. And if I didn't listen to my internal self, I would have went there and God would have known my beautiful son was 17 now. When I went to the doctor, they kept me and put me on steroids because they said your water broke. We want to make sure that everything's okay. 2 months later, 8 months and 34 weeks, I went to the doctor, Methodist Hospital, and they put me on bed rest. And I was in college, and they said, we're going to keep you on bed rest because your son's heart is low. Now, if I didn't listen to the nurses talking to me, telling me, I want you to listen to every part of your body because there are women coming in here 9 months, stillbirth. And my spirit said, we're going to listen. And I literally tell you, my son was a kicker. And when he stopped kicking, I pressed that bell and I said, he's not kicking anymore. I need to do something. They induced my labor. And let me tell you, that boy came out in 2 seconds. So I understand. Those nurses that was with me, I tell you, thank you. Because listen, I listened to every story so that I could be an advocate.
Yes, absolutely. And here's the thing. The purpose of having a doula is so that when you are actually giving birth, you don't have to work that hard. You already are working, honey. You're already lying down in a bed in a compromising position that is against gravity. You're already feeling pain. You're already in a different mindset. You're already concerned with the birth of your child and the life of yourself. If you are Black and brown in America, the purpose of a doula being present, available nowadays at the press of a button is because you don't have to work double time, right? My partners go in. We go in to say, you know what? My client just said that she's feeling some pain, and we would like to know if someone can come in and check her, please.
Right.
Versus you having to ring a bell and where's the bell? It's all on the floor. You know, so many nurses on the unit, so they're working with other people, so they're human as well. And so you have a personal concierge for your birthing experience. I'm gonna put that in marketing. I kind of like that.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So just wondering, can you, because you touched upon this a little bit, I'm wondering if you can discuss the intersection of reproductive justice and economic empowerment, you know, because I know you're trying to promote both. You know? Yeah.
So I believe that in my economic empowerment, I'm able to advocate and pay for, invest in reproductive justice, right? And so if as I build business, get clients, do what I do from a monetary place, that money then gets to be invested into the app that I'm building, right? Then there's access for people. There is easier way to get a doula in your hands. There's easier way, right? This also gives leverage when I'm working with communities that say, we're not in the community of color, you're in the community of color. We can't be there physically, but we can put this money into it. And why they would invest in what I'm doing, because I've already invested in myself. And so money begets money. People see you invest in yourself, they're going to invest in you. And, you know, I'm leveraging these relationships, hopefully, right? With all of these communities that I am engaging in. My friend is always like, Nikki, you do really well with crossing over. And I'm like, well, I don't always think so, but I do, right? I create relationships with people. And if the relationship is viable, I build it. I keep building it and keep building it and keep building it. And so the finances, one, we have to, I say candid conversations about everything. I talk about taboo topics, okay? So money is a taboo topic for too many people. And so I'm willing to have the candid conversation. You hear me tell you I went to Debtors Anonymous. Who's telling you that they're going to a 12-step program to get healing so that they can be wealthy? You understand? Because most people are not talking about being wealthy. And so access to wealth is healing what doesn't work. For me, that may not be everybody's journey. Some people are like, girl, just go ahead and take the action and the money will come. Well, I don't operate like that. I spiritually had to do something, right? Some people don't need to do anything spiritually. Some people just say, boom, and then they wake up and things are different. That's not my story, right? I'm doing a little more, you know, slow processing, surgical. But in reality, in 3 years, hell, if I'm $300,000 less in debt, I actually moved pretty quickly.
There you go. That you did. That you did.
This is your power. So I think that in building my own chi around money, finances, wealth acquisition, investing, building that helps me to position myself to be able to go do the things that don't necessarily pay, right? I want a birthing center. I think that we should have a place that we can birth babies all day, every day. Well, that costs money, right? And so the way that I'm going to get that high, I'm going to speak, I'm going to write some books, I'm going to educate, you know, I may even go get me a policy job to pay for it, you know, but find somebody to partner with too, right? Because I feel like that's a big part of it is like I see people are most successful when they have partners. Like, where do I go? Let me go manifest partners so that this can all become a reality. It's about partnerships and viable partnerships, you know, so that we can see a transformation in these areas.
Excellent. You know, Coochie Coach, aka Nikki, you know, we can talk to you forever because you are a plethora, a sea, an ocean of information, of data. I mean, your spirit has always rang with me, and just thank you. And before we, you know, close down this particular segment, because it's not ending, because we know we have to have you again as you're birthing your creations and manifesting. We want to know, right? What are you echoing and how? No, this one is question of the axe. Hold on. There we go. How do you envision your movement to empower 1 million women unfolding? Let's echo that into the world so we can manifest that.
1 million wombs transformed all around the globe. So how I see me echoing this into the atmosphere is I used to do an event. I'm saying used to because I've sort of been in the purgatory with it. It's called the Coochie Con, right? And so I believe that this year the Coochie Con, while I thought it was for people, I think it was for me. I needed to do the Coochie Con on Nikki, right? And really get honest with what that looked like and all the things. So that's really what's happening. I'm doing this Coochie Con on Nikki so that I can birth something into reality, which is what I call the Coochie verse. And the Coochie verse is the macrocosm, right? All things vagina, you know, then, you know, vitality. It looks like, you know, Web3. It looks like technology. It looks like humanity meeting technology and building together so that women all around this planet can be empowered at every intersection of their own bodies, mind, soul, hearts. And as I say at every end of my Instagram post, it's all coochie.
It's all coochie. It's all good.
Now, please let the audience know where they can find you, how they can contact you.
So on the Coochie Coach, definitely because
there's only one Coochie Coach. The Coochie Coach on Instagram. That's what you said? The Coochie Coach? Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you
So
so
make sure
much.
to love this channel. Make sure to follow the Coochie Coach so that you can be Coochie with your mind, your body, and your soul. And till next time, we'll see you.
And your finances.